Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from the Bhakti Center in New York City, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast, with me, Raghunath, your host, and my co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Sleeping Sunday. I woke up at
It's Saturday, though.
Oh, it's Saturday.
Keep that in mind.
Okay, Saturday. Where's our guest? Actually, I woke up for the show early this morning, and I got home really late last night. I rode my bike down from the cloisters. I was visiting my how do you say the guru name? Vartma Pradarshana Guru, Harley Flanagan from the Cro-Mags. And he and his wife made me this incredible dinner. I had an incredible night hanging out with the first person that introduced me to Krishna consciousness.
That's so nice.
And I haven't spoke to him. And the guy's like going to his house. It was like a punk rock museum. He had Joe Strummer's shirt frame. He had the key to the door of Sid and Nancy's room at the Chelsea Hotel. And tons of other stuff.
But those are the two kind of crown jewels of the collection.
And we just told stories. I mean, I met him when I was a child. When I was a child and he was a gang leader, we met before he was in a band, when he was just in a gang, and somehow he befriended me. And due to that befriending, I always felt sort of safe in that very dangerous neighborhood. But I will say, I really wanted, the introduction of my book is him walking me to the subway stairs from Bleecker Street, from CBGB's. And he's like carrying a weapon. This is when I was young. He's carrying a weapon, a chair leg with a nail in it. And he's swinging it in his hand. And he's walking to me and he's saying, let's go for a walk. So I thought, what is about to happen to me? He's going to kick my ass.
Let's go for a walk.
Let's go for a walk. I was like, okay. And so on the way there, he started telling me about Krishna and how the soul is eternal and so my book starts off with this introduction going, he could have killed me, but he gave me God instead. And he walked me down the subway. Now, those subways there are First Avenue. It's right here. It's right where the Bhakti Center is. That's where he walked me down. And back then, that was the scariest subway stop, even in the daytime. And he just started preaching to me. And it was like, and I was sort of excited, but at the same time, I never heard that type of depth in spiritual philosophy before. And so that sort of like resonated with me in like a deeper level. And then there was like the fear he could just like kick my butt, and this is sort of like happened. Everyone was fighting everybody back then. That was just part of being a kid. You just like fight random people. And I was like, okay. And so my way I dealt with that was I became invisible. I just sort of like, this was before I claimed straight edge and waged the straight edge flag. I was just literally a kid from Connecticut going to shows in New York City, trying not to get killed and trying to enjoy the crazy atmosphere. And so anyway, that was the first taste of Bhakti. And after he gave this very, very beautiful lecture about the eternality of the soul and in religion is one, he hopped the turnstile. And when the lady behind the booth said, hey, get back here, you didn't pay your fare, He said, F you, and gave the finger to the turnstile lady and went down the stairs. It was like a perfect introduction to Bhakti Yoga.
Did you reminisce about that yesterday with him?
I did, because I'm going to send it to him, but I think they loved it. But they're doing a movie about him. We should get him on the show. What do you think? If you think we should get him on the show, you can write it on the message board here.
All right, Raghu, we are 11 minutes in, and we got a lot of questions here.
We got a lot of questions.
have
There's a
announcements to
Krishna
make,
miracle
too.
I must tell you about.
Okay.
I must tell you about. This is from Katie Purcell, who you met, her and John. They came to our Wisdom of the Sages retreat. And she's like, you've got to mention this. She's like, we went out on a boat. And they're both, she's getting really serious about bhakti, and he is too. She's chanting like 16 rounds a day. He's chanting like 1 round a day. And they're both on a boat. But, they're still new to so many things, and he's very new to it. She's been sort of like playing around with it for a while. So she just said to him, she said, if all this Krishna stuff is true, why doesn't Krishna just manifest as a dolphin? And he said to me, I was thinking this exact, and they're in the middle of nowhere on the boat. And she goes, you're not going to believe this, but I was thinking the exact same thing. If this Krishna is true, just show yourself as a dolphin. And they were both just like laughing. And then all of a sudden, a school of dolphins breaks the water.
It's called a pod.
A pod? Oh.
I don't know. That's what we had from I think.
Pod of dolphin breaks water. She's like, it was in a place where you never see a dolphin. We were out in the middle of nowhere. Pods of, he goes, it was within 1 minute of us saying that, dolphins appearing everywhere.
Okay, that was Krishna miracle.
Krishna, we're going to call that a Krishna miracle.
Okay.
You got to write those miracles down, because you'll forget them when you start doubting Krishna. You got to understand Krishna can appear as dolphins to you.
Now, we got...
Could have been all the cowherd boys and Krishna.
It could have been. But we got an announcement to make.
Oh, this is good.
Because we got the 500th coming up. First, with 2 announcements. 1, tomorrow's a day off. We're not going to do the show tomorrow.
Tomorrow's a day off.
Okay. And 2 is Friday. That means Friday will be our 500th show. Correct, Mara? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so Friday's the 500th episode.
Not to be missed.
Not to be missed. And we've been asking for suggestions, and some people have been suggesting something. We figured maybe this is the way to go. Is Friday, let the people speak, right? Like, we'll hear from all of you about like how Srimad Bhagavatam, and hearing it daily through Wisdom of the Sages, has what it's meant to you, or how it's affected you, how it's changed your life, or something like that. And so we're asking for 2 things, right? One is we're asking, if you've been listening to the show and it's meant something to you, or it's uplifted you in some way, or please write into us, right? Like there's thousands and thousands of people that listen to this show. Let's hear from you. Like, write into us, And
Californians, others, people we don't know.
Yeah, please write in. Try to do it within the next few days, if possible. Sooner the better. And on Friday, we're going to read some of those, but we also want to hear from Zoomers. So Zoomers, in other words, we'd like to hear from you, like you speak it yourself. So we'd like to turn the mic over to you.
Yeah.
So Zoomers, if you also want to write into us and share, we'll ask, the Zoomers to just kind of like briefly share something with us. But we'll pick a bunch of you too. But ideal if you write to us ahead of time and share your thoughts first. So please write in to Wisdom of the Sages 108@gmail.com.
And put Friday 500 in the
Friday
subject
500.
So we know. Friday 500. That's what we're calling the show, the Friday 500.
Kind of like
And,
haircut what was it? Haircut 100?
Haircut 100, yeah. They were good.
They were good.
Love, love, love.
How was that
plus
show
one.
anyway?
The show was great. I got backstage. I did. I sort of mushed my way backstage there to meet them. But anyway, also make sure you say your name. If you're a Californian, a Texas other, whatever, a Texas Zoomer, or say your name, and then just briefly share your story. Try to don't be so verbose. Keep it concise so we can just read it through, because we want to read through a lot. So, and I'm sure your story can be teased out to a novel. Don't do that. Okay. And if you're gonna go on live on Zoom, let us know. Great to have those. What do you call those? Earbuds, earphones.
We can get to that later.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll tell them. But we're looking forward. That's going to be a great day, Friday 500. Let's get into these questions.
All right, you
It's
ready?
Q&A
The
day.
first question's for you.
All right, let's
This is
start it
coming
off.
from Paul Walsh via the Discord thread. And he writes, "Hi, everyone." And he says, "I'm still very new to Bhakti and Krishna consciousness and would like if Raghu and Kaustubha could talk about LGBT community and how ISKCON views the community. I'm a married gay male, and I wanted to bring my husband to future engagements and trips with Wisdom of the Sages. I would welcome any feedback from the Discord family as well, but I definitely would love to hear from Raghu and Kaustubha. Thank you for being here and giving me the opportunity to share this with you all."
Welcome, Paul. Welcome to the show. Welcome from the Discord thread. The Discord thread is there for those who are on Patreon, our Patreon community. And it's a great way to post your question and connect with a lot of cool people. So welcome. I can't speak for the ISKCON thing. Truthfully, if anybody from anywhere says, "Yeah, I'm going to go to an ISKCON temple," to me, that's always like, okay, good luck. Meaning you never know what you're going to get in an ISKCON temple because everything is individual and everything is made up of individuals. So who knows who you might run into in a temple. For the most part, and how I can tell you how you'd be welcome with me in my house or Wisdom of the Stages thing, I would give you a big hug, because the idea of we are spirit souls, we're not this body. This is the thing that is going to actually change the world from all its chaos. It's so simple and so real. What is the desire of men to men or men to woman? The whole thing is actually, some people will actually, some crazy homophobic person, "Oh, that's so perverse." You know what's perverse? Being attracted to the material world. That's perverse. We are attracted to Krishna. That's the original identity. And anything less than that is off track. And the idea is that our passions, our sexual passions, or any type of sensual passion, like with the tongue, and all of these must be regulated. Why? If not, they possess me. If not, they possess me. I don't want to be possessed by my lower chakras. So therefore, we regulate them. We have rules. There's reasons why there's rules within marriage. I control my senses because I can only choose one partner instead of thousands of partners. Oh, she's pretty, she's pretty, she's pretty, she's pretty. Try doing that. Try to see how happy your life will be just fulfilling all of your desires. It won't be. You'll be sadder and sadder and sadder. Talk to somebody from our Bhakti recovery group. They can fill you in. So that being said, we're in a body. Who cares what that body desires? Ultimately, we're not a body. For example, if I have a bunch of cars and I soup up one car and I paint another hood of a car bright blue, or I put big wheels and a lift on my truck, who cares? What we're doing with our body has nothing to do with how we should treat people or how we should look at other people, because that's just a vehicle. The real thing, the real way to get rid of all this body consciousness that the world is suffering from is to look really deep on an individual level and treat each person, each living entity with dignity. That's the only way all this racism is going to go away. It's the only way this hate towards any one particular community. Every community is going to get hated by another community. So let's act on an individual way. How we treat people, how we raise our children, how we treat people we know, how we treat people we love, how we treat people that don't love us. How are we going to treat them anyway? Before I can even condemn people for hating, I have to stop hating. Or else it's just like, oh, you hate me, I hate you. Who wins? So to bring it back to your original question, I embrace everybody that wants to change their spiritual life or to resurrect their spiritual life. And what you do with your personal life, it's none of my business. It's none of my business. Because all I want to do as a teacher is to see all the students happy, and I know that the real depth of our happiness comes from our spiritual life, not our material life. How's that for an answer? Did I answer the question?
I think you did.
Well, all right.
Yeah, and I think maybe, but just to reiterate what you were saying is neither Raghunath or I can represent ISKCON or tell you what's going to happen, because it's like it is a worldwide society with independent centers and different people that lead them with different conceptions, and I can't guarantee that you're going to feel welcome wherever you go. I wish I could, you know.
That being said, you might be part of a center that's incredibly welcoming. It really just
Yeah.
depends. But we can't be responsible for your experience, because first of all, you might not even have an experience. You might have an experience with a crazy guy that's just visiting the temple.
Yeah.
Or sometimes the people living in the temple are brand new to bhakti, and they're just maybe new or fanatical. I mean, me and Kaustubha have been doing this for like 35 years. We're like reasonably mature in the way we present this
think
and
so?
have like imbibed it. Reasonably mature.
Okay.
But you get somebody who's brand new to anything, snowboarding or religion or diet, unique diets. 10 people tend to be a little intense, over the top, fanatical. So we can't be responsible for your experience, but you might also be right next door to a very cool. You could also meet the coolest people you ever meet.
Well, I was going to say, I don't feel welcome in every ISKCON center. Quite frankly, I don't. Some I relate to, some I don't. Some I can walk in there and I can just read the minds of what people think of me, just whether it's because of the way I'm dressed or whatever. It's like you get that kind of thing, and I don't let it faze me. I'm not going to let that it just comes with any kind of institution or whatever, that you get different levels of depth of someone's understanding. Some people are really stuck to externals, or some people impose their ideas upon it. And then there's other people that really understand the essence of it. And that's what we need to search out. So like Raghunath and I, we search that out within ISKCON. We search the people that we can relate to, and we search the people that have that are like embodying the qualities that we see are essential to this beautiful practice. And you just have to search that out.
There's always a downside of organizations, but there's also an upside. If it wasn't for an organization, I wouldn't have known about this stuff. So I'm grateful for an organization, and it's a legacy. Like after I die, it'll still exist. But you always got to go in there with a little bit of like a little bit of discernment. That being said, it might be the greatest experience of your life as well, too. So,
but he was mentioning that he would like to come on Wisdom of the Sages retreats and
Wisdom of the Sages retreat. Everybody's cool. That's what I love about Wisdom of the Sages. Anything me and Kaustubha didn't like about the ashram, we're sort of like upcycling like bhakti as we love it, and let go of all the baggage, the dogma that came with it. Because that dogma will come, I think it just sometimes needs to be rebranded, not just rebranded, but how would you call it? I like upcycled.
Okay. I don't know if I've ever heard that term before, but
you never heard upcycle? That's a great term.
Yeah.
We take something old and give it, repurpose it almost, and we keep what we love about it, and we let go of the silly things that didn't serve the essence. And that's why I think you probably feel welcome here, Paul, because this community, it's a beautiful community.
There you go.
Welcome to the show.
Okay. All right, you ready for the next one? Or am I ready for
Yeah. Are you ready? This is from our young blood, Evan Lewis.
Young blood, all right.
Where is he from?
He's from England.
UK, no?
Yeah. Or UK,
I'm listening to back episode 235 today, and Raghunath is talking about how mantras have to be given in disciplic succession, handed down through a lineage in order to be properly effective. It's a good question. We don't choose them ourselves just because we like the sound or pick whatever seems to resonate with us, etc., etc. I remember that class. A teacher is supposed to prescribe a certain amount of discipline to the student. Because sometimes you hear people say that, right? Kaustubha, like, oh, this is my mantra, I feel it. No. That's like me going into a pharmacy and saying, that's my drug over there. Give me that drug. I like the bottle. No, you can't do that. So I'm wondering, does hearing Raghunath and Kaustubha on the podcast recommending chanting the maha mantra as a general statement count as receiving a mantra from Guru? Tell me, Guru Kaustubha, what you think.
Well, so this idea, there's a statement. It's said that it's in the Padma Purana. Sampradaya vihinaye mantras te nishphala mataha. So nishpala means like pala
No
means
fruit,
fruit.
huh?
Yeah, it
No
means
fruits.
it doesn't. You don't get the fruit. It doesn't. It's like you plant a tree, and you're waiting for the day when the fruit's going to come, and then the fruit never comes.
It's a problem with planting trees from seeds nowadays. Do you know that? Because they're
Seeds are-
hybridized. You have to graft them. Just
Okay.
thought I'd throw that out there.
Thank you, Mr. Permaculture. So it's said that if a mantra doesn't come in the sampradaya, if it doesn't come in the lineage, if it doesn't come in the disciplic succession, then it doesn't produce fruit. And so what does that mean? Is it a mystical thing? Like, in other words, is it just that someone has the power to give it, and based on their spiritual potency? Is that how it's meant to be understood, or is it something else? So there may be a mystical element to it. Just like we don't even have to look at it as mystical. Like, even like, there are representatives, and sometimes someone on one level will say, well, you got to satisfy my representative, right? If you're okay with them, then you're okay with me. It's kind of like that. This is a person I trust. And if they okay you, then you're okay. And so in one sense, it's like that. When you take initiation into what does sampradaya mean? We can translate it as, like, say, a lineage, a spiritual lineage. But like literally, like, daya means to give, like pradaya means to give profusely. And sampradaya means to give, like, profusely and, like, fully, completely. So sampradaya, it means you're getting it all. You're getting, like, for instance, the mantra. You get the full benefit of it, right? You okay?
It's like I can't even walk down the street without tripping. That's like classic drinking, spilling, coughing.
Okay.
That is the way I roll.
So sampradaya means it's giving you fully what's in that mantra. The verse that verse that I quoted, sampradaya vihinaye, it says what the verse says is that any mantra that doesn't come through the sampradaya doesn't produce fruit. Therefore, there are the sampradayas. But it's so interesting because it's saying specifically about mantra. It's saying that these lineages exist for the purpose of us being able to gain the full benefit of these mantras. So the mantras themselves, it's not that, like, they need any help themselves. The mantra is non-different from God. It's fully spiritual. That's the faith within the lineage. But the problem is that the problem is our inability to access it, right? It's like the power's there in it, but I'm incapable of letting it in because my mind is so distracted. I can't absorb my mind in it. So therefore, the guru, who is the representative of the sampradaya, trains one in a way that they become more receptive to it. And so if you want to know what a guru is, that's what a guru is, right? There may be an element of it that's, you could say, mystical, or, that, like, you need to be recognized by someone that's in that sampradaya, that you are sincere, that you are serious about it, that you have the proper conception. And then they say, okay, welcome to the sampradaya. Here's the mantra, and here are the instructions that will help you become more receptive or access the power, the transformative power of that mantra. And that means you're going to have the right conceptions, and you're going to have the right sentiments, and you're going to have the right lifestyle. And that's how the guru trains the disciple, right? And so, like, for instance, in the ceremony wherein one is initiated into the sampradaya and receives the mantra, that's what's happening. It's like when one's initiated into this line and one accepts a guru and the guru accepts the disciple, the guru gives the mantra, and they give them a set of beads to chant the mantra on. And then they also provide, like commonly in our lineage, the guru will, at that time of initiation, will speak about what's called, like, the aparatas, the 10. Literally, aparata means, like, we translate it as offenses, but even more literally, it means, like, that which interferes with the worship. Right?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, aparad. Radhanam means
Aradhanam, aparadanam. I get it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It means, okay.
Panditji.
So in other words, the guru is saying, here's the beads and here's the mantra. Now I'm going to instruct you right now in this ceremony, right? I'm going to say the 10 things that you need to consider so that you'll be able to access that mantra. But actually, all of my instructions to you are all in relation to that. Like, in other words, if a guru is giving, like, a guru may say, hey, you're telling me about how you're living, and I'm saying you need to be more responsible. You need to be a more responsible husband. You need to be a more responsible father. Like, that might be an instruction one gets from a guru. And that may be helpful in life in so many ways, but it's specifically that, because if you're not, how will you ever access the power of this mantra? Right? It's like, part of it means you have to surrender to your dharma. You have to stop living, you're absorbing your mind in all kind of other things. It's going to help you focus your mind by being responsible. So it might be an instruction like that. We need to understand that, like, in other words, our entire lifestyle, again, in terms of our lifestyle, our sentiments, our conceptions, they all need to be lined up right. And the guru is helping one understand that, giving one instructions to more deeply imbibe those. And so therefore the mantra becomes potent. It's not that the mantra isn't potent, but we become receptive to the potency of the mantra. That's how the spiritual practice works. So when we think of a guru, think of that. Someone that's training me to become a better person so that I can access the power of these mantras and these teachings and so on. And that's how one transforms. So
don't pick your own medicine.
Well, yeah, in one sense, the mantra is the same for all of us. But, like, the dosage and how we receive it and all that, yeah, you need
there's different mantras too. There's people who just say, I'm going to chant the Lakshmi mantra.
That's there too, but that's not for someone that wants to practice bhakti, right? It's like,
no, but we deal with people all the time who are just like, I got to pick my mantra yet. I know you guys have your mantra. I'm shopping around for a mantra.
That's on another. I get it. In other words, like, someone might get into yoga and say, oh, there's all these different mantras. Okay, but what do you want? Do you want money? Because, yeah, there's mantras to get that. Or if you want bhakti, that's a whole different thing. And so if you're the kind of person like Evan that's, like, interested in Bhagavatam and bhakti and so on, then, okay, it's that maha mantra.
Well, and I think the answer to the question is yes, in one sense. The wisdom of the sages is acting as the guru, because every class or every show, practically speaking, is refining our intention behind the mantra. It's like impregnating, because that's what the parampara is doing. It's like giving you the intention when you chant and explaining the goal. If we don't understand the goal,
Well, yes and no, I think.
What?
Well, in other words, there was, like, for instance, when you and I were initiated, there was a level of surrender that was there to the guru, and then the guru was also right there to correct us and to guide us and so on. So, like,
let's bring us to our next question, sir.
Okay, well, let's finish this one first. But so my point is, no, I mean, in one sense, I get what you're saying. In one sense, that if through wisdom of the sages, you and I are in a genuine way conveying the right conceptions and the right, teachings on the right lifestyle and the right sentiments, then that's going to help you access the power of that mantra for sure. But still, the guru-disciple thing is a two-way street. It's not just like I can pick it up by listening to a podcast. You surrender your life to someone, and they take personal responsibility for you to make sure that you get this. It's an intimate connection. So that's there too. And so, therefore some pradaya for the full benefit, then one is initiated into that lineage. So, there's a principle working in this, and hopefully what we're sharing will help someone go more deeply into the mantra, but still there's something more to it, and that's the next question. But okay. but the answer is whether if you hear the maha mantra on the Hair soundtrack, which it is on the Hair soundtrack, you can Spotify search that. It's going to give you, but it's going to be exponentially more effective hearing it after listening to Wisdom of the Sages for a year. It'll have a whole bunch of different. It just will be. Okay, Well, no, but I want to. It sounds like you're just saying, yeah, you don't need initiation in this lineage. Just listen to wisdom of the sages. And that's all
No,
saying.
I'm about to answer that question.
Okay, well then let's make that clear before we wind this one up. And now I'll ask you the question. I hope that's been helpful, Evan.
Yeah.
And now we'll ask you. This is coming from Christian, who's from a small town in Illinois, and he's written this via email. He says, first, let me preface this by saying I personally feel that I am not situated in my own spiritual practice to actually approach a spiritual master yet. I just had a few questions about it, and hopefully they are concise enough to understand. I do understand the importance of taking shelter of a guru, and I understand how serious of a commitment it is. My first questions are, in this modern age of internet association, how can someone develop a real relationship with a teacher? For example, I watch lectures from a few different teachers that I really appreciate, but they have zero idea that I even exist.
Right.
Kind of like how Kaustubha Prabhu and Raghunath Prabhu have a podcast and there are hundreds or thousands of people they don't even know about. Would it be informal to send them a message via social media? Right? Would it be informal? I think he means even like, would it be
Inappropriate?
yeah, inappropriate in some way, right? How do you actually ask the teacher to be your guru? Also, what happens when your guru leaves their body? Are you supposed to find another? The only reason I ask this is because I know Kaustubha Prabhu's guru left his body many years ago. My last question is about having a guru while being married and having children, like myself, married with 2 kids that are 5 and 3. My 3-year-old has autism and needs a little extra attention at times. I find it hard to keep up with daily practice because of my family and work life. How do you juggle keeping your relationship with Guru and remaining present with your family life? Thanks for taking the time to read, and thank you for your wonderful service.
Beautiful question.
Yeah. And are you going to answer it?
No. I'm deeply thinking and praying to Guru to speak through me. I like to take these questions and just get to the essential point of them. And the essential point is, in my life, I have limited vision. I have some insight and I get directed to certain people, but I don't know everything. I want to go to people who can see above the wall, see around the corner, give me some insight, see my blind spots. And it's a necessity to have people like that in your life. It might be your initiating guru. It might not be. I have like the good fortune of having evolved gurus in my life. Diksha gurus and Shiksha gurus. Initiated by Damodar Swami. Raghunath Swami is my Shiksha guru. Both of those people give me access to reach them on a regular basis if I have a big fork in my life. Most people don't have that access to their initiating guru. And plus, I have a lot of other very senior devotees that I really trust their integrity. We need people where you trust their integrity that we can go to. Kaustubha, myself, and other older devotees, we don't play the role of initiating gurus at this time of our life, or may we ever, perhaps, who knows? But the idea is that you need somebody, even if you're initiated by a devotee, like a lot of people, including Raghunath Swami, say. He was initiated by Srila Prabhupada, but that doesn't mean like he has easy access to Prabhupada at every moment. So what you do is you work with other people that you connect with, that you relate with, that you trust their integrity, and they act as an instructing, a shiksha guru to you. And why? Because you trust their integrity. And Krishna speaks through the community of devotees. So there is an importance on our bhakti path, and that doesn't have to happen within even a year. It could happen down the road, that there is some official connection to the sampradaya. I'm not even selling my sampradaya, my lineage, but there is some official thing. But to go to India or say and get initiated, and then you have no connection to any society, and yeah, I've got a new name now. Who cares? Who cares about your new cool name? You know, what really cares is that you're imbibing the philosophy. Not any random philosophy. I just got a name and now here's a new philosophy. But you imbibe the philosophy of your guru and you live it and you practice it and you have help along the way because you're going to run into problems, forks in the road, sinkholes, personal tragedies, personal growth. And you need people as a coach, not as a life coach, but as a spiritual like life coach, so to speak. What do I do? This is happening to me like that. And thank God for that. I'm glad I didn't wander to India, meet some Baba who, this happens all the time. You meet some guy, he looks holy. He gives me a name. He gave me a mantra. And now I never see him again. He lives in a cave. And I'm just wandering around America with a cool name, which is great if I want to lead a kirtan at the local yoga studio. But it's not doing me any practical good. I want a society of people that have integrity. And by the way, you get a society, you're going to get people with no integrity. That's part of a society. You're going to get a crazy. That's part of society. That's part of any society. You got to find people within that society that you say, this person I can relate to. This person speaks my language. I have this person, I like the way they answer questions. I know tons of devotees, but not everybody I'm going to be vulnerable with and approach and ask advice from. I keep everybody at a loving arm's distance, and I bring a few people very close to me. And that's just the way I want to do it. I have very close devotee friends and very close devotee teachers. And then I have a buffer around me, and I'm just polite and kind and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it is important to eventually find someone who initiates you into the lineage. But my real relationships will be with people of integrity that you trust, that can give you some advice on a regular basis. I know Wisdom of the Sages is serving that for a lot of people because we get feedback like that. And that's called shiksha, or good instruction. And it's a necessity in your life. I'll just speak for myself. It's a necessity in my life as I go through on life's journey. How's that, Kaustubha?
It's good, but I mean, I think that was all super valuable, but I still think some questions are unanswered here.
Okay.
Because he was asking, in this modern age of internet association, how can someone develop that relationship?
So you find someone that you can relate to that has connection, and we do that all the time. If a person's interested in Raghunath Swami or something, that we introduce them to them. We introduce them on a way. But you're right. When you're dealing with like an acharya, a master who has thousands of disciples, it's different than the old days. Well, I lived in the ashram of my guru, and I got to render personal service to my guru, and I see the way this person lives. You're not going to get that type of thing for the most part with an acharya who has thousands of disciples. That's even okay with me if I was in that situation. I don't see Raghunath Swami every day. He's really inspirational to me. I check in with him occasional, but I have my service. And if there's ever a massive hurdle, I ask a question, but a question like will come up that I'll ask, but basically you want to serve the mission of your guru, and that might mean serving someone else who's serving the mission of your guru.
Okay. So it sounds to me like Christian has someone in mind, because he's saying, okay, I'm in this day and age. Maybe he was from Illinois, I think. Who knows exactly where in Illinois. And, he says, then he asks, would it be informal to send them a message via social media?
Maybe be a little informal.
Yeah. And he asks, how do you actually ask a teacher to be your guru? So those are related. I mean, what I'd say is like, I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, right?
My shoes or his shoes?
His shoes.
Okay.
And it seems like, I feel like it's a very sincere letter. And he's seen that there are people that I see online that are inspiring me, and that seem to be the kind of person, that could be my guru. And so you want to establish that relationship. And you're saying, can I just write to them? Like, can I send them a message via social media? You could. What I would do is I would try maybe even through that same... First of all, you could write to us because we might be able to help you with this.
Yeah, we might be able to like give you direct connection with the person.
Yeah. But another thing is, you could write and say, sincerity here is everything. And, these, even though it's an interesting kind of like modern bizarre social media world that we're living in, and that this ancient tradition is now, working through. The ancient texts are full of examples of someone like approaching a guru with great humility and sincerity, sometimes overcoming obstacles to be accepted by that guru, right? Sometimes the guru is saying no, 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 and they're like they won't give up, and there's stories like that. So this is such an important thing. Don't expect that there won't be some obstacles, but I think but what you need to really do is you need to really express your heart. You need to find a form in which you can really express your heart to this person. And you say, how do you actually ask the teacher to be your guru? That should be an expression from the heart that this is my life. I'm misdirected. I'm misguided. I don't know how many lifetimes I've been struggling like this. And I recognize that on my own, I'm never going to break this cycle. And I look at you and I hear from you. And when I hear you speak, I feel very clearly I'm receiving the message that I need to transform my life. So I'm asking you, I know you're busy. I know you have so many other responsibilities. There's no reason why you should accept me, but I'm begging you anyway. Would you please bless me by accepting me as your student and instructing me so that I can follow this path? I want to follow the path that you're walking and have faith in you as the person that can help me do that. Would you accept me? It's a message like that from the heart. And whatever form you can express yourself like that. I probably wouldn't do it just like on a Facebook message, but I might reach out through that to say, is there an address that I could send to, or is there a place where I could meet this person? That it may come through a letter. It may come through meeting the person personally and expressing your heart. But I would look for that form through which you could connect to the person and express that kind of sentiment. And that person is going to be looking, and they're going to get a feeling from the way that you express yourself, whether you're sincere or not, And they might be resistant. They might be resistant just because they might doubt their ability to be able to help you. I don't know if I can help a person that's out in the middle of Illinois, and if I'm ever going to see them, if I'm ever really going to be able to, it might be like that. And then you beg more, and you say, I know that. That's the case, but I really, I will make the effort, to see you and so on. So it's like that. And the other part was what do you do if your guru passes away? Do you have to go find another guru?
Well, it's the essence of what I was saying earlier. You need people like that you need people in your life that can give you direction.
Yeah.
So, like Kaustubha,
even if they don't leave their body, right? Like,
sure,
you want that principle of guru to be active in your life.
I don't want to leave my choices up to my decisions. I have some faulty thinking. I have a tendency to think, be a little self-centered, and so therefore, I want someone who's standing outside of myself, whom I trust the way they live, to show me my blind spots. Yeah. So, it's important to have this in your life. You don't have to get like reinitiated and things like that, but you need people in your life. I find I need people, and I'd be very worried if you don't want people in your life to give you instruction. But we should immediately want to take shelter of not everybody, of a few devotees to direct us that we trust. That makes total sense to me.
As Raghu was mentioning, there's Diksha Guru, who's the initiator and commonly plays a very central role in a person's life. And then there's Shiksha Guru, which is the instructor. There's one initiator, and there can be many instructors. So even when the Diksha Guru is alive, you may have other Shiksha Gurus. But the principle of Shiksha, the principle of transcendental knowledge, transcendental instruction coming through another person, that's something that we always want alive in our life. And so if the Diksha Guru passes away, we still always want that to be receiving instruction from someone that we really trust. And so it's not like officially you have to go and get reinitiated, but we're always trying to keep that channel open and alive through whoever it may be working.
It's not like if the guru dies, now it's like, now I'm off the hook. No one will check anything I do. No, I want people to check me, call me out. Hey, that's wrong. You shouldn't do this. I want to be corrected. you know.
And then the last part of his question had to do with, well, I'm married, I have kids, I'm really busy. One of my kids has autism, needs extra attention. If I'm accepted by a guru, am I going to be able to keep up?
Loving those children and the autistic child that needs more help, and loving your wife, that is your service to your guru, right? Keeping that family tight and together and fill the household filled with love, that is a big part of your service to guru as well.
Yeah, when I was initiated, I was a monk, and it was really like central to my connection to him that like I was giving my whole life and assisting him in his mission, and a disciple wants to do that. That's the reciprocation from the heart of the disciple, that they want to serve the guru and serve their mission. But also, you want to make sure you're being initiated by someone that understands, like, again, essentially what the guru is doing is giving you the instructions on how you're going to become more receptive to the potency of the mantra. And part of that, as Raghunath is pointing out, is caring for your family, the dharma of taking up that responsibility. If I were in your shoes, I would want to make sure that my guru understood that even, honestly, right? Like, I would be careful that, like, I wasn't taking initiation for someone. There are different gurus have different opinions and different, let me put it this way. There are different initiating gurus that have different moods and different emphasis.
If you trust us, ask us.
Yeah,
we'll give you our opinions.
Yeah, and so I would want to make sure that it's a person that that would be able to give me relevant instructions in the situation that I'm in.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard if your guru is a renunciate, like a swami. It's hard for them to not all the time, but sometimes it could be hard for them to answer a marital question that deals with sexuality or raising children. Why? Because they might have never kissed a girl in their life, and they don't know what it's like to deal with the opposite sex or be married because they've never been married or had children. Questions like that, I oftentimes reserve to older devotees who've been around, who've been through that experience myself.
I'm saying not even in terms of that, but like even in terms like, say your guru said, you should leave your family right now and follow me and serve my mission or something like that. I don't expect something exactly like that to happen, but I would want to be initiated by someone that I was confident was able to instruct me in the context of the life that I'm living right here. And I don't think that would be too hard. Like, I believe that most people that are operating that way would recognize the world that you're living in and give you relevant instructions. So they're not going to demand that you drop everything to do this. What they'll hopefully be able to help you with is show you how the world that you're living in right now, how it can all be connected to that service. And if you do that, and if you live that, in other words, a guru, if they see that you're being a responsible husband, you're being a responsible father, you're being responsible in your workplace, all is part of your dharma, and that you're serious about hearing Bhagavatam, and you're serious about your mantra meditation, and you help people in whatever way you can, then they're going to be very satisfied with that, and you'll please the heart of your guru, and you'll get their blessings that way. So don't think that taking initiation means having to totally turn your life upside down. It shouldn't mean that. But at the same time, it's you take a vow to chant 16 rounds. That's like a commitment. You take a vow to follow, to live a certain lifestyle. That's an important commitment too. So that's got to be considered.
All right.
All right.
Thank you. I hope that was useful, Christian. There's a question for Kaustubha Das from a daily Zoomer named Evan Dean Strait.
All right.
Via email. A great many thanks, and I owe so much to you despite never meeting you in the flesh.
This is a profound question.
In this ocean of nescience. I love this word. I love this word, nescience. In this ocean of nescience. Yeah. I'm happy to have found you both riding the waves into my spiritual life and giving me the tools that were given to you. Around the age of 12, I developed the conviction that the answers to the universe must be given in any given moment. I felt strongly that given the right tools to see that one could be given access to the unlimited profundity in all moments of life. Like that word. While the capacity to articulate this viewpoint hadn't yet developed, the conviction inside me certainly had. and I'm still wondering about it to this day. Is Krishna present in full in all things? Material things are comprised of 3 material modes, but does everything have a Krishna mode? When I look at my cup, I get a feeling that it's Krishna sometimes. When I look at my hands, when I look at the boulders, when I see my family interact sometimes, I see 2 things, them and their little Leela. And then I feel the presence of something subordinate to them that they
Not
aren't
subordinate, superordinate.
Oh, superordinate. Sorry, that's a cool word too. Superordinate to them that they aren't aware of and that I can't fully comprehend. So I guess I want to know about this Leela. Is it big? Is it small? Is it everywhere, all the time, and all places, and playing out in different phases? Thank you for providing a safe space to ask questions that would make my family concerned for my mental health.
You can't go to the
Sometimes you can't just ask these questions to anybody. They think my dad's losing his mind.
God. This cup is God.
This cup is God. Worship this cup.
So that's a fascinating question, and I appreciate it. So let me start at the beginning. He's saying, is Krishna present in full in all things? The answer is yes, actually. And if he is, well, then is everything spirit? Because Krishna is spirit. But what's the difference between material and spiritual? Like, is there a difference? How is Krishna? Is there a difference between material energy and spiritual energy? And so the answer is a little bit subtle. But I think you've got the kind of mind to kind of grasp these kind of things because it's just that you're asking this question. There's a difference between material and spiritual energy, and Krishna deals with this in chapter 7 of the Bhagavad Gita. He kind of lays it out in a pretty simple way. He says in text 4 of chapter 7, he defines material energy and what it's composed of in a very general way, right? Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Altogether, these 8 constitute my separated material energies, prakriti. And in the next verse, he talks about something called para prakriti, or prakriti vidime param. Vidime, learn from me, hear from me, right? Learn from me, understand from me about this prakriti param. So he says, prakriti vidime param. Hear from me about this higher energy, right? About this higher nature. And he says, it comprises the living entities, the soul. So that's the spiritual energy, right? The soul. So he says there's these 8 material elements, and then there's the soul. And then in text 6 and 7, he says all created beings have their source in these 2 natures, right? I've got me, and then I've got my body. The material energy, my body's made of the material energy, and I'm made of spiritual energy. He says, of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world, know for certain that I am both the origin and the dissolution. Okay, so all the energy, myself, as well as my body and my cup, right? And anything made out of earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, or ego, that is Krishna's energy, right? Like, it's, in one sense, it's him. But not only that, his consciousness pervades it all, right? So, in other words, we read something the other day that was very interesting on the show. And that was in the commentary to text 3:15:45. Prabhupada wrote this. He said, by meditation, one can understand that God is seated within one's heart. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Even if one does not know it, God is seated within the heart of everyone. Okay. Not only is he seated in the heart of the human being, but he is also within the hearts of the cats and dogs.
Yes.
There you go, right? Bhagavad Gita certifies this fact by the declaration of the Lord Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hrideshe, which literally means that the Ishvara, Krishna, as the Paramatma, right? Sarva Bhutanam Hrideshe is situated within the heart of every living entity. Okay. Then he goes on. The Ishvara, the supreme controller of the world, is seated in the heart of everyone. Not only is he in everyone's heart, but he is also present within the atom. Okay, so that means the Paramatma, that form of Lord Vishnu, is in every single atom. No place.
How can that be? How can that be? In full? How can he be in full in you and full in me and full in the dog and full in the atom? That's the very definition of not full.
Well, then on top of you what you're saying goes to the reminds me of the verse from the Brahma Samhita, right? Which is ekopya saurachaitam jagananda kotam yachaktarasti jagananda chayadiranta andantarastam paramanu charantarastam govindam aripurusham tamaham bhajami. He says jagananda chaya yadanta, that all the universes exist in him, right? And that's Lord Vishnu, right? It's from him that all the universes expand. So all the universes exist, and then on his inhale, they all come back in, right? So Jagananda Chaya Yadanta, all the universes exist within him, but also Paramanu Chayantarastam. He is in the Paramanu.
How can that be?
And
It's
not
impossible.
only, he's there in his fullness. So this verse says that all the universes exist in him, and he is present in his fullness, in every one of the atoms that are scattered throughout the universe at one and the same time, such as the primeval Lord whom I adore. So we hear how, when we say Paramama, it doesn't mean only the one that's situated in our heart, but there's the Atma, that's us, and then there's the Paramatma, the superior soul, the higher soul. And so just as I am the soul of this body and my consciousness pervades this body, so the universe is the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. He's the Paramama of the universe, right? And then every body within that universe, he expands again. It's micro. It's like the first is Mahavishnu. The entire, that's macro, that's right? Like it's
macro.
Yeah, it's like within the spiritual sky, you could say like a bubble of his size that is just entirely inestimable to. We just could never, ever even conceive of measuring the size of it. And Mahavishnu is the soul of that material world, and his consciousness is spread throughout the entire thing. And then from the pores of Mahavishnu come unlimited universes. Then he enters in as the Paramatma of each universe. So now that we went from macro to micro.
And then we're going to go to micro.
Mini micro.
Mini micro.
Mini micro.
Minnie Mouse micro.
Yeah, so from the Garbhodak, he's called Garbhodakshaya Vishnu because from his navel comes the lotus upon which Brahma is born. Brahma creates all the bodies, and he goes for his third level of micro, right? He's gone from macro to micro to mini micro. Yeah, now he enters the heart of every living being. It's said that in the human, that's the span of the forefinger to the thumb. That's the size of the Paramatma within the heart, right?
But the problem is we are made up of so many living beings within our own body. So he's in actually he's in every bacteria in your body.
And not only that, he's in every atom that makes up the bacteria. So there's
what's bigger, bacteria or atoms?
Atom means and particularly in this case when we use the Sanskrit word paramanu, it means the smallest material component.
So there'd be thousands of little Vishnus in full within us. And if you can't perceive that, it's understandable. Imagine a Japanese beetle crawling up my red sweatshirt. He has no clue what he's crawling on. He has no clue that it's a red. First of all, he has no clue it's red. He has no clue that it's a sweatshirt. And he has no clue it's a human. He's just as clueless, and he's just crawling. This is us in this universe. We're just completely oblivious.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. And so now listen to this, though. Now Prabhupada continues. He says, the Ishvara, the supreme controller of the world, is seated in the heart of everyone. Not only is he in everyone's heart, but he's also present within the atom. No place is vacant or devoid of the presence of the Lord, therefore. And then he says, this is the statement of the Ishopanishad, right? And the Ishopanishad has this really just such a fundamental, important verse to think about. Ish savashyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bunjataha ma gridha kasya svidhanam. Everything, and this goes right to everything animate or inanimate. Like animate would mean us, inanimate would mean your cup, right? that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for themselves, which are set aside as their quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. And so Prabhupada writes, going back to the purport that we're reading, he says, no place is vacant or devoid of the presence of the Lord. That is the statement of the Ishopanishad. God is present everywhere, and his right of proprietorship applies to everything. So just like we say, like, this is my body, right? And even we talk about, like, I have rights, and we recognize those rights. You know, like, we respect a person's body because they are conscious within that body. If I were to hurt that body, deal with that body in a way, they're the ones that experience it, not me. My consciousness doesn't pervade anybody else's body. So because my consciousness pervades this particular collection of material ingredients called my body, we say it's my body, right? Because my consciousness is spread through it. Well, Krishna's consciousness is spread through all of it. So it's all his body. And therefore it's all aware, and in a sense it's all alive. So when you look at that cup as a Krishna, well, in many ways it is, right? In some senses it's not, but in another sense it is. It's his energy. It stemmed from him. Aham sarvasya prabhavo. You know, like, everything emanates from me, Krishna says. It's his energy. And not only is it his...
emanate from him.
It cups also, yeah. And it's not only like something may emanate from me, like I might create some art, I might make a painting. And in one sense, that's me, right? Like it's an expression of me. But in another sense, my consciousness doesn't pervade it. But Krishna, the cup is made of him, and his consciousness pervades it as well. So Prabhupada said a really interesting thing in another purport. I want to pull that up. 1 second. Just hold on. If I can find it. There's one. I can't find it right now. Oh, I got it. Okay. He's in this commentary, Srila Prabhupada. This is the commentary to Srimad Bhagavatam 3:1247. And he's talking about Vedic mantras and how Vedic mantras, they're spiritual sound, but in this world they become represented symbolically by letters of the alphabet, right? So he says the Vedas are spiritual sound, and therefore there's no need of material interpretation, for the sound vibration is Vedic literature. The Vedas should be vibrated as they are, although they are symbolically represented by letters which are known to us materially. In the ultimate issue, there's nothing material, because everything has its origin in the spiritual world. The material manifestation is therefore called illusion in the proper sense of the term. For those who are realized souls, there's nothing but spirit. Because it's all Krishna, and Krishna is all, you know, he's omnipresent and omni-aware, right? His awareness is everywhere. So Prabhupada would use an analogy like electricity. He would say electricity is one energy, but it can be used to heat or to cool, right? You can use it to heat up a room, like through a heater, or you can use it to cool things like in a refrigerator, but it's the same energy. So similarly, there's material energy, which itself is not conscious, like the soul is conscious, but Krishna's consciousness is spread there. And so there's a difference, there's a oneness and a difference. In one sense, you know, his energy, like the one energy of electricity produces refrigeration and heat. The one energy of Krishna produces material and spiritual energy, and his consciousness pervades it all. So in the beginning of our spiritual life, before we've gained spiritual knowledge, we identify with the material energy. We think I am this body, although we're not. And then when we begin to practice spirituality, we need to make the distinction, right? There's a difference between me and my body, and we need to focus on that. But on the highest level of spiritual realization, we realize my body is Krishna's energy, my cup is Krishna's energy, Krishna's consciousness is spread through it all. I need to respect everything and everyone, and you're seeing Krishna everywhere. So it's a very profound question. I really appreciate it. He goes on to ask about the Leela. He said, you know, he watches his family, and he can see like that there's a Leela going on. What's that all about? And, you know, each soul is moving through this world, and trying to enjoy it, not recognizing that ultimately their enjoyment is in connection to that divine source. And so as a 12-year-old, you were watching that Leela going on. It's a world which we try to enjoy, but the world keeps sending us messages. The universes keep sending us messages to try to understand who we really are and who we're really connected to. And I think Krishna was granting you something in your life to even to catch on to that at a young age. And it's something that we just try to deepen and deepen more and more as we go through life. And I hope that it was helpful.
That was good.
Question. We went over time. I mean, it's something we could just keep going on and on about, you know?
That was very good.
Interesting stuff, though, huh?
It was very good.
Okay, I'm glad you liked it. Well,
It's going to be a good Sunday. I mean, it's going to be a good Saturday. Sunday, it's real sleeping Sunday tomorrow. You're just going to keep
you
sleeping.
don't even have to get up.
You're going to keep on sleeping. Thanks, everybody. What a nice way to start my Saturday with all of you. I want to thank there's a bunch of people joined late there. Desiree, Arian Plord's husband,
Desiree.
Michael Theodore Dackey's baby, Alice from Italy, Catherine Green, Laura Denoya, David Flesher, Jiva G. Anybody else I missed? Ramit is here. Hi, Ramit. And Ellie and Kaylee Doss. Sometimes I miss the people in the beginning or they join a little late. Thank you. If you want to join us every week, we do this Saturday and Sunday on Facebook. You have a day off tomorrow. And then remember this Friday, the Friday 500. Send in your story about how you got to your deeper connection through Wisdom of the Sages. And we're celebrating our 500th episode.
Yeah. How Bhagavatam has changed your life?
How the Bhagavatam has changed your life. Tell us if you're a Zoomer or an other in your story. Keep it sort of concise but poignant. And we're looking forward to reading it on the show. It's going to be a special day. Mara's going to be making vegan meatballs for everybody, FedExing them to your house so we can eat them. Nitai Lieberman, welcome. Good to see you. It's been good. It's been good. 500 episodes, Kaustubha.
We're not there yet.
It's coming.
We're close.
Now let's clap and dance.